The meeting will come to order. I want to thank everybody for coming and welcome everybody. And could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Fry, President.
Here.
Mr. Bova, Vice President.
Here.
Mrs. Lasich.
Here.
Mr. Olson. Mr. Tanzer.
Here. Please rise for the pledge. Thank you. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we want to thank everybody for coming. And we have a large agenda, so we'll just get right to it. Hockey presentation. You guys are lead off.
Right. Hi, I'm Mike Guerreri. I'm the Vice President of the Canfield Hockey Boosters, and with Dr. John Clendenin, our Vice President, Mark Drotlip is our Treasurer. And again, I want to thank you guys for giving us a couple of minutes to speak our agenda, I guess. Canfield Hockey has been in existence for 14 years. 10 years we've been recognized as a member of the Ohio Athletic Association. We're the only hockey program in the Tri-County area, which makes us very unique, for this sport. In the last 10 to 14 years, we've spent somewhere in the range of $350,000 to $400,000. One of the things that we do feel that the hockey program is something that does set Canfield aside from other communities. We do offer hockey, and it is attractive to some people when moving to this area. We've got at least 2 families on our team right now that actually moved into the area and chose Canfield because we offered a program. And I do also know of a couple of families that have already gone through the system that chose Canfield when they were relocated because of hockey. Recently we have had some discussions with some people that live in other communities that are now interested in coming to Canfield solely because we offer varsity hockey. The situation that we are in right now is we spend anywhere between $28,000 and $35,000 a year. I know we provided a letter that kind of gave you a little bit of a breakdown on our finances. In last year, per hour of ice, we have to rent our ice from the Ice Zone Boardman. It was $275 an hour. They raised it up to $325 an hour. We usually bought 90 hours of ice a season. We've reduced that to 60, just so we could stay afloat. We charge our players, it depends on how you look at it, $850 to $950 to be on the team. In addition to that, we have fundraisers that raise probably anywhere between 25 and 35% of our total budget. Problem that we're running into is those fundraisers are obviously getting more and more difficult. It's the expenses are going up. It's the same people that are always doing the fundraisers, so the burden is becoming more and more. What we are asking the board to consider, and I guess we're going back to before the levy failed the first time around, the Board of Education did pay for our busing, and we would like you to reconsider busing for our away games. In addition to that, being that we are a varsity program, we would also like the board to consider coaching expenses for us. We're well aware that hockey is unique in the sense that we incur an inordinate amount of expense for ice, that our parents understand this going into it. We don't expect any relief for that. We do intend on still charging the same amount to be on the team, but with the help from the board, that will keep us in existence and allow us to be competitive, at least to get us to amount of ice time required to put a competitive team out there. Just also to give you just a little bit of background about some of the things that we are doing. Our new hockey board, we're taking a little bit of a different approach to how maybe things were done in the past. We've recently hired a new coach who, quite honestly, is probably the best available candidate in northeastern Ohio, which is presently going through the process. We've also started to work with local TV stations that have covered our games. We're working very closely with the Vindicator. Even one of our fundraisers is in conjunction with their greatest golfer in the Valley promotion. We've got the Town Crier and the Canfield Neighbors covering our fundraisers now. Our players were involved in the Hunger Walk in downtown Youngstown, which was covered by the news. So we're trying to do some things to shed a positive light, in the community that hockey's there. It's available for kids all through. It's not just varsity. We do have a developmental program, but we're just trying to get more active in the community and shed a positive light. If you have any questions, I'm sure the three of us can answer that, whether it be from a financial standpoint or participation standpoint.
How much do you pay your coach?
Well, last year we paid our coach $4,138. I guess we're not looking for a salary that we pay our football or basketball coach, or maybe even our baseball coach. Because I know what they pay. Something on the level of like maybe what we pay our girls volleyball coach. Even though we may pay, and when you start interviewing for hockey, being that's a very, very, there's not a lot of candidates out there, and if you're a top coach, you can go elsewhere and get paid a lot of money. I mean, it started at $10,000 with the negotiations. We're looking at about $5,500. Now that's for the whole staff. That's not just the head coach. That's for the staff.
Now, would you expect us to keep control of the coach if we were paying him?
Absolutely.
That might present a problem.
Well, when you say keep control,
I'm talking about hiring.
Well, as far as how does that present a problem?
Because if we're going to hire him, then we're going to want the person that we want to have as a coach.
Okay.
I mean, that just makes sense. If you're going to hire him and pay him, then you would get the person that you'd want to have as a coach. There's no other coaching situation where the parents vote to have the coach.
Okay.
Mr. Cooper's here, he can tell you that.
There's
just no other situation with
I'm
that.
comfortable with the expertise of
just
Mr.
saying
Cooper.
that would have to, I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I would feel, just my own being an ex-athletic director, if I'm going to pay a coach, if the board's going to pay a coach, I'm certainly going to hire that coach. I'm not going to have a vote on who the coach is, only because we don't do that with anybody else.
Okay. Understand.
And I understand that you're used to doing the interviewing and hiring, and I'm not trying to take that away, but you just have to understand if we're going to pay them.
Well,
if that ever comes about, we need to be able to hire them and make sure that's the kind of person that we would want working with the kids. And I'm not saying that they're not the kind of person you want working with the kids. We'd have to be satisfied that it'd be that kind of person.
We're very comfortable with that.
John Clendenin, President of the Hockey Boosters. With hockey, there's a unique skill set to be able to coach. And so for us to put that out there to the community would be fine. We wouldn't have any issue with that at all. The problem is that we'd have to find somebody qualified to be able to go on the ice, build these kids up. We're bringing kids in that have played in Canada and at a very high level. So we would have to bring coaches in that are commensurate with those skills to help build our program up, which we would have no problem allowing the board to do that. We already pay our coaches through the system. So,
And we're
That's
aware that
true.
the coaching staff, from what I understand, is on a one-year contract, and that's all coaches through Canfield. So either the board or the superintendent would revisit that every single year.
Well, we have policy, procedure, definitely guidelines that we're bound by.
Absolutely.
That we would have to follow through with that. Let's talk about transportation.
Okay.
You mentioned prior to levy failures years ago. What was the average yearly expense when it comes to transportation
It was
over the past handful of years?
Last year it was $2,200, but that was a little bit less than what it normally was.
Okay.
I think on the high side it was 28.
High side is 2752, and that was in 2012, 2013, and then 2010, 2011 was 2629.
Because we're not talking about driving across 224. We're going some pretty good
Right.
distances here.
But we only play 7 away games, and we also participated in 2 tournaments last year.
Okay.
So one was 1 day, and the other was 2 days.
And when we have home events, kids find their own means of
Yes,
transportation.
they go right to the rink. We don't transport to practice. I know, like swimming, they practice in Salem, but they're bused to practice. We don't do that. Our kids drive right to the rink.
How far is the longest you would travel?
The longest is about 65 miles. That's the
One way.
longest. Yeah, and that's only one time. Most of our games are played at Gilmore Academy, our away games, because there's like 3 teams that share that rink. And then also there's one in Aurora that will play 1 or 2 a year there, and they're in the 50s.
that's at the pond, yeah, that's 48 miles.
Guys, if I could, just to get these guys up to speed, is being that Canfield Hockey is the only hockey team we have to participate. The hockey team is a member of the Greater Cleveland Hockey League. So all the teams are, when it's an away game, it's an away game. All the games are in Cleveland, and then they drive all the way down here just to come for us, which they really don't like us. But most of them are going 10 miles. But so it's a unique situation where every one of our games, every one of the hockey team's games, is truly an away game. We got to go.
We don't choose to play those teams. We have to play those teams. They are the closest opponents.
Just to give you an idea, the mileage ranges from 48 miles to, I think the highest is 68.
I was kind of
And that was
thinking
a
about
time.
going to Columbus or Dayton or Cincinnati.
No,
No.
just Cleveland.
Going to
area.
Cleveland.
Yeah, the only way we would ever go to Columbus if we made the state championship. So,
That's a ways off.
Yeah, and you understand, if we would, I'm going back to the coach, if we would pay the coach, that'd be a set, there's no negotiation. If you want to coach, this is what you get.
yeah.
I mean, that's just, all the coaches are like that. We have a scale for different, we have different classifications. We have different classifications, 1, 2, how many? Now,
Well, we have a
3, 1, 2, 3 class.
1, 2, and then multiple years, right? Depending
Yeah,
on
and
how much experience. they
Yeah,
bring
0 to
the
1 year, and then 2 and above.
Sure.
Would
As
get
far as
2 and
the-
above gives a little bit.
What's the
more.
classification based off of? Like, as far as I know, like basketball and football are in one
Let
class.
that gentleman right back there.
Actually, it's size, number of participants and size of the sport itself.
Gotcha.
So when you're
Are
asked,
booster clubs allowed to enhance
We have support organization paid coaches that can add to the numbers in the coaching staff, but all that has to be appropriately funneled through the treasurer with appropriate deductions, and then the pay actually is issued from the school. And these coaches, even now, are required to go through the nomination process and the approval process, as are the school-paid coaches.
I think you asking, can they add to a coach's salary?
Yeah, like you say, these...
Not add coaches. He's asking about adding to a coach's
You mean
salary.
supplement the pay that...
Supplement the pay on the pay scale. I don't know if that's ever been done, has it?
I'm not aware of that having been done, and I would think that the board office the board would have to consider whether that would be
Well,
appropriate.
yeah, it's all negotiated.
It's a negotiated
It's an agreement between
supplement.
the teachers union and the school board.
Okay.
So that's why adding to it would not be
but we would be able to hire our own assistant coaches, fund it, and pay them through the board.
If we only had a head coach
Yes.
and you want to get volunteer assistants, that's been done in other sports.
Okay.
So in
Yeah,
other
'cause
words,
like
the
I
answer
said,
to
that's
that
the
is yes,
total
you may
package.
hire a volunteer assistant
Okay.
and pay them.
Okay.
But we would hire, and now the volunteer assistants would have to go through an interview process with the athletic director to make sure that they're the kind of people that we want to be with our kids. And a criminal background check, all the stuff that happens,
Certainly.
qualifications. That, there's classes that they're going to have to go to that maybe this, does a hockey coach have to go to this?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, he does?
Actually,
All right.
USA Hockey.
All right, so there's
Yeah.
classes that they all have to go to, so you know about that.
Yeah, Mr. Cooper's been he's been wonderful
Okay,
in
good.
showing us those steps.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for a little bit of history, back in early 1980s, my neighbor participated in hockey. He went to Canfield Schools here, and he was a great hockey player, but he had to go up to Kent to play. He couldn't play high school here. And in his senior year, he was offered a full scholarship to a private school in Detroit. He finished up his senior year and graduated from there, much to my dismay because he was my starting shortstop. He ended up with a full scholarship at Holy Cross, and then eventually had tryout with the Olympic team. So hockey goes back further than you think.
Yeah, and if I could maybe just add one other thing. One of the things with hockey's a sport where top players, they know top coaches, and the coaching candidate that we're looking at, now that his name is out there, and we've had top hockey travel is very popular. It's not like I mentioned. My friend's son's playing in Canada this weekend. These travel players now want to play for us. They're all Canfield students, but they have been reluctant to play for Canfield. Now that you have a top coach in there, now they all want to come and play for us. That's why when I was mentioning there's people from other communities looking to move to our area, a lot of it has to do with the coach. It all starts at the top of hockey. And also, I think a concern that people had at one point was, what's the future of the ice zone? Well, the Phantoms Bruce Zoll knows the Phantoms. They play at the Cavelli. Well, he just signed another 3-year contract with UHSL, and you have to maintain a second rink. So they had to at least commit to 3 more years to that rink. So that is not a concern at all. So, and we're also looking to actually play some of our games at the Cavelli now. So going to get even some more exposure.
One other thing I'd like to mention, we are one of the few sports that has boys and girls as varsity players. We've had several of our girls letter for hockey, and so it's a kind of a unique sport in that way too.
Soccer, same thing. Until they had boys and girls soccer.
Right.
And when do you need to know by? I hope it's not tonight.
I guess.
I think it's safe to say we can get back with
We'll leave it to the board. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We just appreciate you hearing us out.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And if you have to go
You
get
guys
a nap
got it.
or something, you're excused if you want.
I want to see what you're going to do.
Softball must be playing today.
Yeah, they must be.
Oh, pity the softball players. Okay, drama.
Reggie's here. Yeah.
Hello. This year, I think that most of you know that I directed. I guess I didn't coach. I'm in sports here. That I directed the spring play, and the kids worked really hard. It was a really funny show. It was really good. They were great kids. They were great. It was a wonderful thing, but it really made me so sad because we're sitting there in the auditorium, and the kids are working their heart out, and the mics are going on and off, and the sound's coming off, and it's coming on, and they're having a hard time out in the light booth. I should have taken a picture of what our microphones look like, and you would probably say, oh my gosh, they're all taped. Our sound system is approximately 20 years old, and they did last year, I believe, or the year before, replace 5 mics. Well, after just one experience with them and how awful that was during all of Tech Week for the kids, and the sound system really needs to be updated. It was checked at one time, and the cost of that would be to completely redo the board and all the mics would be about $30,000. We are trying to, well, we have gotten the support of both the chorus and the band to help us in this because they both use the auditorium. Actually, everybody uses the auditorium. Sports use the auditorium. Everybody uses that sound system. The community uses it. Do you know what I mean? We depend upon it on a lot of ways, and we've gotten their help, but the band is also interested in some kind of a reflective curtain that would go behind them, not in front of them, but behind them, because I guess right now the way that our auditorium is built, a lot of the band sounds go out that way instead of out. One of the problems, because you could ask, why would a straight play, that's a play that's not a musical, just in case you want to know, have to wear mics? And the reason is because our auditorium, as opposed to most stages that are, if I'm the stage built like this, our auditorium is built like this. And so it's not really that good for sound, so the kids have to be mic'd for both the musicals and the straight shows. So I would really like to start a fundraiser. We're talking about the Canfield Players. That's Dr. Heikkinen and she has been working on this literally for years. And I jumped right on this, and I want to do it this year, if you'll let me. And what it would be is we would like to send a letter out to to the people that are most involved. And we're talking about the parents of the boosters, of the choir, the band, and drama. You know, those are all really stakeholders because all of their kids would be directly profited from a new sound system. And we'll send them a letter, and here's an example of what we would like to send them, asking them for a donation, and we would put their names in the program for a certain amount of money and get a plaque for even more money. I'm sorry, I have enough. I actually have...
You're okay.
Okay.
You're okay.
Then our second part, after we sent those out to the parents, would be to ask every booster club in Canfield High School to make a donation from their booster club, including the classes that make a donation. Rather than buying chairs for the office, we have beautiful new chairs. If you're going to buy something for school, make a donation to that fund because it helps every single student in Canfield in one way or another. And we would ask every booster as a booster club to do that, including sports boosters who use it, if they would be interested. And the third leg would be to communities. I already have all of the boosters and who their presidents are. I have every address of every single business in Canfield. And this letter would go to the boosters and the community organizations, asking if they would like to be a part of this, because the community also uses that. I can't help thinking that if Boardman can have the beautiful theatrical productions they can because of what their community does, that Canfield can't also have that. And it would cost, I actually think, to be very honest, that if we're also including this reflective curtain or shell that would go behind the band, it would be even a little more than that. But before we did anything, once we got sufficient funds, we would surely have a couple of companies come in, look at our whole sound system, our stage, and make recommendations and bids. We wouldn't just say, our goal is really to fix it. You know, not just band-aid it with some more new mics, which we might have to do just to run the next show if we don't raise enough money. But I really thought right now, with the people and the parents that saw the last show, this might be the time to start. So I would like your permission to start, and if you would give me that permission, because I know you'd want to be the very first people to donate, I'm giving you a donation form.
Now you're really pushing it, aren't you?
I'm retired.
You know, everybody's
Walking a fine line.
I've heard it.
You know, Reggie and Dr. H brought this up. We've been talking about this, like Reggie said, ever since the last performance, and we thought it was a good idea. Get everybody educated on the direction we'd like to go with this. Definitely private dollars, no taxpayer dollars going towards this.
No, in fact, here, Canfield Players is playing for the paper. It's not any of your paper. I bought it all outside of the school. We did use your copy machines, I have to tell you. But also all the stamping will be from the Canfield Players. We're not asking the board to pay for anything.
It's definitely much needed, and like Reggie said, it's been a project in many years in the making, and we definitely wanted to bring it to your attention here tonight, and hopefully get some good press out of it as well.
I don't have a problem. Anybody want to say anything? I think you can go ahead.
Because I want to start this right away.
Reggie, I would hope that you'd reach out to alum that
Oh,
participated.
good idea.
You know, my son was in the plays and had a great experience, and there's past board members, kids who were in there, and a lot of kids went through the system that participated in plays that are very successful members of the community, and you know, it wouldn't take much
To get an alumni
to
list. That's a great
get a
idea.
list out there, and if you got $100 from every alum that was up there in the play, you're going to raise a lot of money, and a lot of kids had a great experience.
If you go on LinkedIn, we have tons of alumni that are very successful in business on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And so it would be a good place
When we're
to...
talking about dollars and cents, I'm sure we might have a question from Treasurer on that.
All right. Oh,
Were
what?
you planning on running this through the Canfield Players Fund that's on
We wanted
our
a
books? Are
separate
you,
fund.
so you're running it through the drama boosters?
Well, we were hoping there would be, I'm sorry I didn't bring that up. I should have had notes, Mrs. Pesman. We were hoping to have a separate fund that would be, yes. We were thinking of that. If we could, a separate fund by the school. We are asking in the letter for them all to make out checks. We really only wanted checks that would go directly into that fund so that no one, so there's a paper trail for everything we collect and there's no question about that. Yes, that was going to be part of what I asked, and I apologize for not asking you, but we would need to have, that would be the best, we think. We don't really want to put it in the Players Fund. We don't really want to put it in the Boosters Fund. We'd like a separate one. Is that possible?
Yeah, you're just going to have to follow the regular fundraising rules, forms, everything,
The form, right.
in order to. And checks probably should be made payable to Canfield Schools,
Not to that.
Sound System Fund. We'll work it out.
Okay.
Give me a call.
Don't forget
Okay.
Twitter. You can tweet. As they say, Twitter. The kids could get something and put it on Twitter. A lot of kids look at Twitter.
Yep, they do. I will do that too. We'll talk.
The one thing I'd like to say is that I think I can speak for the entire board that it really is good to hear the passion that you people present to us because you're trying to build your programs and we're here to help you as much as we can. And I know every now and then as an administrator we would talk about the pain in the butts, we didn't call them that. We're always going after their programs, but those were the people who were building. Those were the people we wanted on staff, the people we wanted out there to do the job. You got to have that passion, and both of you have presented that.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, we move on. We have minutes from the March 19th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Being none, could we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Treasurer's reports?
Treasurer's reports.
I commented last month that we would be receiving advances, and if you look at the general fund month-to-date receipts, you'll see we received $4.7 million. Most of that is the new real estate tax collection.
So as we say, we got a check. We got a check. Not our
Direct
full check.
deposit.
That's right.
It's not a real check.
Well, everybody wanted to know why we didn't get the money in November. It doesn't happen that way.
And we're still collecting since,
Right.
April, and it's not all in yet. But, appropriation report, 3/4 of the year has passed, and as you can see on the last page, we're at 74%. So our budget is in line. Checks. I think there's one I wanted to point out. On page 4, a little more than halfway down, SOS Security Systems for $24,900. That was middle school cameras, part of the security upgrade that we promised the voters if the levy did in fact pass. Any other comments? 24,900, page 4. About.
Back at the second page.
Okay. Thanks.
And you'll be seeing the elementary payments on the next check round next month. The purchase order register, the new items start bottom of page 9. And I did want to point one out, on page 13, Youngstown State University for $5,047. It's the 6th item down. That was what we paid for college and high school for the spring semester for the students that are getting credit. So not a whole lot of money for the benefit that those kids are receiving. It's quite a wonderful program. I'm sorry my kids are out and weren't able to take part in that. Any questions on any of those reports before I go to the investment report? On the investment holdings, at the end of March, the last 4 items are all brand new, and you'll notice the ones, of course, that are 4 years or 3 years in length are the higher percentage rates at 1%, which is not bad for what the rates have been. And I do have to stagger a little bit, so you'll see some shorter terms there, year and a half, that are at 0.3 and 0.7%. Trying to diversify again, as I've been saying the last few months. And those last 3 items were done through Cetera at Farmers National Bank. The other items are through Piper Jaffray, which we've been using for a while. So.
And we get these the weekend before, so we have a chance to look over everything.
There's no questions. Have a motion to approve the reports.
Do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's reports?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion? Being none, could you call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes. Anybody sign up besides
No, they will all be already addressed.
being very quiet today? All right, that brings us to new business.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to recommend the acceptance of a resignation of a licensed employee. That's your exhibit number 1. Tracy Hostetler, Principal, CVMS, effective April 21, 2014.
Per the recommendation of the superintendent, do I have a motion to accept the resignation of a licensed employee?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All right, being none, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend hire a licensed employee, exhibit number 2, Candace Reed, high school counselor / district test coordinator, effective 2014-15 school year at a rate of $37,413.
Well, this give us 3 counselors there.
This will have an additional assistance in the guidance department at the high school, along with testing throughout the entire district, with park and air testing and end-of-course exams, more and more need when it comes to the testing.
So they're going to split up the letters different, instead of them having half and half?
We're gonna sit down as a committee at the high school and really decide how.
I know it's kind of overwhelming, too, for those 2 people.
It's a big need these days.
Yes, so I'm sure they'll be very happy starting next year. Any further discussion? Okay, excuse me. Do I have a motion to accept the hiring of Candace Reed?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion? She's a great lady, I'll say that. All right. Could you call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll say bittersweet. I mean, she does an excellent job in the positions that she does for us. Well, it's going to take a lot to find a replacement for her, but we'll do our best there. I'd like to also recommend personnel, new business, approved licensed substitutes. Those are exhibits number 3s. Marlene Mikan, Sam Moffey, and Tina Wilkins. Again, exhibit 3A, 3B, and 3C.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, I need a motion to approve the hiring of licensed substitutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Discussion? Being none, could you call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to accept the leave of absence request of a classified employee, June Barnes, aide at both Hilltop and C.H. Campbell, requesting unpaid leave from April 21 through June 6. That's your exhibit number 4.
Now, that is a very nice person, June Barnes.
Outstanding.
Unbelievably nice. She's just nice to everybody. Per this recommendation of the superintendent, do I hear a motion for a leave of absence for June Barnes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, discussion? Would you please call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lyson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer? Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to also recommend hiring classified summer help, Wendy Racky, lawn mowing at $7.95 per hour as needed. She also held this same position last year.
Per the recommendation of the superintendent, can I have a motion to hire classified summer help?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All right, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lyson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer? Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend hiring extracurricular as per your enclosed list. Exhibit number 5, real big tonight. Softball volunteer Trisha Ventura.
Per the recommendation of the superintendent, do I hear a motion to hire softball volunteer Tricia Ventura?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All right, being none, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lyson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
We have several contract renewals we'd like to recommend for licensed employees, and you have exhibits for this. Exhibit number 6 addresses continuing contract for teachers. Exhibit number 7, 1-year limited contract, again, teachers. 1-year limited contract, exhibit number 8, are for tutors, and non-renewing limited contracts, and there is a resolution for this, 88-214 through 90-214, 2014, excuse me, that's your exhibit number 9.
All right, per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion to accept the contract renewals for the licensed?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion. Being none, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lyson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
We also have exhibits here for contract renewals of classified employees. We have continuing contracts in your exhibit number 10, also limited contracts in your exhibit number 11, and then non-renewing limited contracts. There is a resolution for that, 91-2014 through 98-2014. That's your exhibit number 12.
Per the recommendation of the superintendent, do I hear a motion to accept the contract renewals for the classified?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Being none, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lyson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Also have a resolution requesting approval for Resolution 87-2014 approving contract suspensions of non-teaching employees. Again, this has nothing to do with how they've done for us and their evaluation. It's just a process that we need to carry out at this time.
Is that, okay. Do you need to read this?
We do not. We just need to accept it.
All right. Per the superintendent's recommendation, I need a motion to accept Resolution 87-2014 approving contract suspensions for non-teaching employees. Hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? And none. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lyson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Also want to just make an announcement at this time. Intra-district open enrollment applications are being accepted. When we talk about that is intra-district, those residents who live within Canfield have an opportunity to apply if the need is there, if there's an emergency case. They might live in Hilltop District and might want to send their youngster to CH or vice versa. Just wanted to make an announcement that that's available per board policy. We do have board policy stating. I'd like to recommend for approval the following out-of-state overnight field trip requests. That's your exhibit number 14. There's 2 of them this evening. High school Italian students to Italy, June 27th through July 7th of this year, providing transportation and lodging are covered by an outside organization. That's 14A. 14B is high school German students to Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Italy, the 23rd of June through the 3rd of July, providing transportation and lodging are covered by an outside organization.
Gotta get on that list someday.
Tell him.
The chaperone. I just gotta get on that chaperone.
I don't know if you want me on that.
Yeah, well, just one time. Just one time. And then I could say, I did it. And that's it. All right, per the recommendation of the superintendent, I need a motion to approve the following out-of-state overnight field trip requests. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion?
Question.
Still want to go on that.
Yes.
Why do they have to approve this through the school? Why do we have to approve this?
Board policy, and we have youngsters going to be leaving the country, and we not only state and signify that the chaperones are legitimate, and this is an educational trip. We do not support this in any way financially, but educational-wise, we're stating that it is a sound trip for them.
So if anything happens,
The liability is on the families involved.
Okay. Did I say you're looking good today?
thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion?
That's going up there.
Any further discussion? Being none, could you call the roll?
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
We need to do this following every year. We need to accept and approve the following statement relating to the preschool special education class size waiver for the 2014-15 school year, and as follows.
All right. You don't have to read it, right?
We don't have to.
All right. Based on the recommendation of the superintendent, do I hear a motion to approve the following statement relating to the preschool special education class size waiver for the 2014-2015 school year? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Speak up.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Could you please call the roll?
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
If you don't mind, I'd like to touch on preschool briefly.
Absolutely.
Okay. We are currently in negotiations with the Educational Service Center to actually house our own preschool next year. And this is something that would be first here for our community. I've been involved with this in other communities where I've worked. And the way this works is, as we just mentioned, there's a class size waiver with special education class size. What's nice about the program that the ESC offers, it's not solely just those with our at-risk and special needs youngsters. But starting at the age of 3, we can have these youngsters involved into a rigorous curriculum for their level, obviously. They have IEPs written, those special education students, and we can start addressing their needs at an early age. Right now, currently, we have youngsters from Canfield going to units throughout the county. We have unit at Career and Tech Center. We have unit in Austintown. We would like to bring them back home and have them here. Benefits, not necessarily financial. The one benefit that we would see financially is not having our youngsters on the road and transportation-wise. But the benefits completely outweigh the negatives when it comes to our youngsters learning the classrooms and the environment and the buildings that they will be attending kindergarten through 4th grade as we currently have it. Those staff members would be able to collaborate with kindergarten teachers and other primary age teachers to get them acclimated on what the children's needs are. Our special ed staff would be able to work solely or hand in hand with at-risk students at an early age. We just see that there's so much benefit that way. On top of that, we can bring on board the same amount, if not more, regular education preschool students into our buildings at an early age. So, in essence, if we have 4 units of preschool, AM and PM, total, and we have 24 at-risk youngsters identified serviced between the ages of 3 and 5 years old, we can have that same amount of regular populated students, average functioning youngsters, in our buildings also at a much early age, and again, getting the benefits of learning the school environment even sooner. Again, win-win, and the Educational Service Center is very excited. Because one, we have age-appropriate buildings, we have staff available, and again, that collaboration with ESC bringing those services for our kids in Canada. So we're in negotiation now, it's moving forward, and it looks very promising for the start of next school year. So.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Sure.
Will there be one unit at Hilltop and one at C.H. Campbell?
Minimum.
There
Yes.
will be at least one at each of the schools?
Yes.
And we do have room in both of the buildings
We
for
do.
those?
We do.
Even with all-day kindergarten?
We do. Yes, we do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Is this an offshoot of passage of the levy?
It has nothing to do with the levy passage. No. No. This is on top of what we want to offer curriculum-wise and for our community. So. Okay.
Any other questions?
Any other questions to that? Okay.
No, I think it's great.
Very good. I'd like to bring up the next section, first reading policies, exhibit number 15. As you well know, we do this twice for our community to make it available and discussion. We have a first reading of upcoming policies. We have several revisions, very few new, and we actually have a deletion of one there. So hopefully you were able to see that ahead of time. This is not the last time you will see these. We will see these again next month. So it's basically giving an opportunity to see these for a month plus, and then we can adopt them in the month of May.
Now, do we need to approve a first reading? We never did before. I didn't think so. Okay.
I'm just making sure that you folks are aware of it and we have it in writing.
I didn't think we needed it.
We don't.
All right. That brings us down to number 9.
Yes, I'd like to make a recommendation to accept the donations as per your exhibit number 16, totaling $5,482.52.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion to accept the donations?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion? We love donations. Any further discussion? Being none, could you call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Licek?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Again, thank yous will be going out starting tomorrow for these folks, and very much appreciative for all of their support. Also like to make a recommendation to award the bid for LED scoreboard message board to the lowest bidder, Multimedia Farms, LLC. That's your exhibit number 17.
And they've done these before?
Yes, and actually it's going to not in high school, not local high school, but collegiate and
Okay.
America's, yes.
All right. I just wasn't familiar with them, that's all.
Actually a local firm.
All right. And do you have anything you want to add at all?
Mr. Cooper?
About the scoreboard?
No, there had been a bid process and interviews with the bidders and negotiations and discussions leading to this recommendation.
And you're quite satisfied?
Sir.
Okay. Based on the superintendent's recommendation, do I have a motion accepting the bid of Multimedia Farms, LLC for a new scoreboard? Ooh, there.
So
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? It's exciting.
It doesn't state it on here, but I want to make sure that folks are aware this is going Bob Dove Field. So it's the football.
Football.
Yeah, so it doesn't state it on there, just so you know.
They were half as much as the top bidder, bottom bidder, I guess.
Yes, yes, and
It's a big difference.
what was nice, we were able to see it in action. So it's
Okay.
very interesting.
Any further discussion? Being none, could you call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Licek?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I will speak along with that. We're anticipating to be able to be in working relationship with local booster groups to go out and solicit funds to support and help pay for this structure. So we will be the ones initiating the payment, but hopefully again we can recoup those dollars.
I'm trying to hide my sarcasm from you. Trying to do that when I was athletic director and being told no.
Well,
We don't do that. I couldn't believe it.
Our goal is we're definitely in the business to educate,
That's
not
right.
to put up scoreboards.
That's right. But I'm saying, if you can go out and people want to donate,
You got it.
you got it. You take.
Partnerships.
As I said, we love donations.
Partnerships.
That's right.
The only other superintendent report I'd like to offer this evening, which is the next section there. A lot of people have been waiting for this, I know, and I guess I'll take partial blame that we haven't made a commitment and a statement for it as of yet. We've been waiting for our governor to sign off on new legislation to offer about calamity days. And we didn't want to make a statement on when we were making our lone calamity day that we went in excessive a number. As you well know, by law, we were able to have 5 without any effects to the school calendar. We did 1 extra. So we have 1 calamity day that we do need to make up, and that is going to be Monday, June 9th. We're going to be out of school the Friday prior. The way our contract reads, we have 5 calamity days that we can make up immediately following that time frame. So we are going to be coming back to school Monday, June 9th for the students' last day, which then makes staff final day the following day, which will be Tuesday. So I just wanted to make sure that we get that on record, and we will publicize that after this evening.
And so, you know, the governor signed that if you had 6 to 10, you still had to make those up. Anything over 10, as I recall, you didn't have to make up. So we had 6, so we have to make it up.
We have to make it up.
So, you know, when the headlines come out and they say calamity days, you don't have to, the governor's giving you a break on calamity days. Well, he is if you're Viva Local. You know, it's giving them a big break. But they still have 5 to make up, you know, with all the time because of the roads. All right. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
I have just 2 more questions because I know people are going to ask me these. When you're talking about, did I understand you correctly to say that there would be a need to hire extra staff when you start the preschool, or would there have to be
Actually, those are educational service center programs, so staff would be funded and also facilitated hiring through them. So they would not be technically Canfield employees.
They'll be from
Educational Service Center, right.
Okay.
County units.
Second question?
I'll wait. Thank you.
Okay. Well, all right. Is there anything else? Then I need a motion to go into executive session to prepare for negotiations with public employees. So I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Would you call the roll?
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mrs. Layton?
Yes.
Mr. Cantor?
Yes.
Mr. Farrar?
Yes. You still waiting?
Could be a long way.
It's going to could be a long wait.
I want it to be off the record.